Hey guys, it's Christian here, and we are going to prepare a photo, um, to be made into a film appropriate to be exposed onto your screen, and so that you can print photo digital quality images with your silkscreen. So you're going to want to take some photos, and those can be a lot of different things. You can take your own photos. You can sample pre-existing imagery, photo imagery, as long as you take it out of its original context, manipulate it enough to where it's your own artwork by then. But yeah, you can take photos, you can scan pre-existing imagery, kind of like sample it. I'm going to take a family photo, and I scanned it, and I'm going to pull it into Photoshop, and I'm gonna process it so that the imagery is appropriate to work with my silkscreen. So I've got a photo here on my desktop, and I'm gonna open it into Photoshop. So Control click, open it with Photoshop. And here it is. First thing I like to do is size the image. So I'll go to image size. It's pretty high resolution. It's a 3x5. You need to size your image to at least the size of image you're gonna eventually print. If you're only capable of printing 8.5x11 films, then your image can't be any bigger than that. In fact, I think it should be a little smaller than 8.5x11, because usually a film can't be printed all the way to the edge. So if you know your limit size of your film is 8.5x11s, like the piece of film you're going to be printing this on is 8.5x11, you should I should say the biggest your image can be is 8x10.5. So this one's 3x5, and I'm gonna print it myself onto an 8.5x11 Komodo desk film in a toner printer. So yeah, first check is good. It's going to fit on my film eventually, so I'm going to leave it that size. I'm going to crop this. Just take it in, crop out this other stuff, cropping it. Yeah, that looks good. So here's my image. First thing that I need to do is, discard the colors. The colors don't translate into how I'm using this. It needs to be black and white. So go to image, mode, grayscale, discard the colors. All right, looks good. It's black and white. Color image doesn't really do anything for me for this process. We're going to halftone this image first. So go back into image, mode, bitmap. Output is good, 300. Method of halftone screen. Okay, and it's asking, this other box opens up, and it's asking me for a frequency, and the frequency is the number of dots per square inch or so that the image will be built out of. I would keep the frequency between like 35 and 45. 35 if it's a really basic image. You might need to go up to about 45, 50 if the image is kind of like complicated or highly detailed. You can keep the angle. I'm going to go 45. You can keep the angle the same, and this gives you options of what kind of shape you want the kind of dots to be made of. I like round. It's just like a really classic shape there. So, and when I press OK, it gives me like a low sort of resolution image, but it's organized in these little dots or tones that are, it just kind of translate the values in the black and white image into dots that are, close together in dark areas, far apart in light areas. But we do this because the resolution of the mesh in your screen is only so big, right? It's actual holes per square inch. If the image is too high of a resolution, the the screen can't hold on to the information, and the little pieces of information will fall away where the mesh is too big to hold on to the image. Okay, so we're processing this black and white image so that it reads appropriately in your screen eventually when you expose it to your screen. It's called a halftone. So I'm going to just save as. I want to be able to get back to that image. So let's give it a different name. Halftone CSW. Save it to my desktop. Okay, I'm gonna quit let's see what let's do a posterization now. So I saved it. Let's go back and undo the bitmap. Okay, so I undid the bitmap. We're back to just the grayscale image. Here's another way to process a photo digital image to be used with the silkscreen and photo emulsion. So, and this one's called posterization. Halftone just requires one exposure, and you have something to print. Posterization is it requires 3 different films to be exposed, and it's 3 different films in diminishing amounts of information to be printed on top, exposed into 3 different films, diminishing amounts of information of that photo, and each kind of layer gets printed on top of themselves in consecutively darker colors of ink. And that's called posterization. So you need to, download a photo, upload a photo to your desktop, pull it into a photo editing program like Photoshop, toss the colors, and then let's go back into image. Adjustments and threshold. Okay, so here's what it kind of does. It turns the image into just like black or white areas, right? And you can kind of toggle it to get different amounts of information. And we want to do at least 3 different amounts of diminishing information to be exposed into 3 separate stencils in your screen and to be printed on top of each other in consecutively darker colors of ink. So you want to start with like a big amount of information. So you want the film to be like dark. Like we'll go to here, 160. This will be one of the exposures. Okay. And from here I go to File, Save As. Make sure you go to Save As because you want to be able to go back to the image. We'll call this one. This one was, I believe it was 163. 163. Save. Okay. Let's go back to the threshold. Wait, we got to back up. We got to go all the way back to the just grayscaled image. So the last one we did was 163. We'll go back into image, adjustments, go back to threshold. Here's what 163 looked like. Now we want a medium amount of information. Let's get to like that, 103, press OK. I'm going to save it, but not save it permanently, save as. So I want 3 different films. Okay, this one's 103, save. Okay, let's undo that to get back to the grayscaled image. Undo threshold, back to image, adjustment, threshold, and then now I want like a minimal amount of information. Okay, let's do that. This one's 61. Okay, great. Save as. Okay, this one's 63. Okay. All right, let's just go all the way back. So I've saved all those, and I saved as all of those, and I want to be able to get back to the original image, undo grayscale, and I'm gonna leave it. Undo crop. I want it as raw as I can. I want to be able to go back to that if I have to. So I can kind of quit this now. Don't save anything. All right, and now I have here on my desktop, I have kind of 3 different images that are ready to be printed on to a film and exposed to screens. So let's just check out some of these. Open them back up. So I have a halftone. This is my image treated with a halftone that I'm going to print onto a Komodo desk film, and I'm going to print it an 8.5 by 11 Komodo desk film. I'm going to print it on a toner printer, so that will be my halftone print. And then these three images are going to be 3 separate films to expose and make 3 separate stencils in a screen. And the plan is to print each one of these films on top of itself in consecutively darker colors of ink. And it's, so I print this onto a film, I print this onto a film, and I print this onto a film. I expose these 3 films into a screen, and I will, and when I've done that, I will print this film with a light colored ink. On top of the previous light colored ink, I will print this film with a medium colored ink. And then I will print this film onto those 2 layers on top of each other with my darkest color ink. And I will get what's called a posterization. Okay, thanks for listening. I'm sure you'll have some questions. Check in with me. We we treated a photograph in two ways. The first way was called a halftone, and that's just one layer to be exposed to a screen and printed. And then I showed you the posterization, which is meant to be printed in 3 different films. So 3 different layers to be printed on top of each other in consecutively darker colors of ink. Okay, see you next time, folks. Email me with questions. Thanks.